In our playlist, The Feminine Queen, we explore how we can work with energy and make the best lifestyle decisions for us to ignite our repressed feminine and to use this creative force to bring forth the best circumstances and scenarios in our lives. Today, we will talk about the 7 chakras around our body and how the divine masculine is connected with the fulfillment of each of these chakras. Let's go. A quick summary in case you're not familiar with the 7 chakras and their position in the body. First, we have the root chakra, then we have the sacral chakra, the solar plexus chakra, the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the third eye chakra, and the crown chakra. Again, these are energy centers, and of course they're applicable to both men and women, but this video we will talk specifically for women and how we process our experiences as women through these energy centers. Now let's talk about the type of energy each of the centers is responsible for processing. And as I'm speaking, try to think of your own life and the events in your own life to perhaps understand which ones of these energy systems may be a little bit debalanced and that you need to work on. So the first one is the root chakra, and the root chakra has to do with your sense of security and stability. This of course has to do primarily with your physical needs such as food and shelter, and the primary male figure in a woman's life is her father, of course, her father being the first man responsible for her food and shelter. Now, if this man was absent from your life, or if he wasn't fit to be a provider, if he was a drunk, if he was an abuser, then your sense in the first root chakra may have been that you need at an early age, before the center was ready, to provide for yourself, for you not to perhaps allow a provider in your life because your model of a provider who should have provided for you was absent or deficient, and therefore you are not trusting that anybody could provide for you. The second chakra, called the sacral chakra, is responsible for your sexuality and your sexual energy. Before you came of age, were you protected from sexuality? Were you allowed to be a child? When you came of age, were you allowed to pursue your sexual interest freely? After, as you got involved with men, did you only get involved with men that you were sexually attracted to? And if the answer is yes to all of these, the energy there is very stable and flowing. If the answer is no to some of this, there will be things that you need to explore within this chakra. The third chakra, the solar plexus, has to do with your confidence and sense of self-worth, the way your self-esteem is projected into the world. The model man for this should have been, again, your father for your childhood, who should have loved you and encouraged you and tell you that you're good enough or that you're wonderful ideally in this world. And so if you didn't have this model or a man who can tell you that growing up, what probably happened is that you sought validation from all sorts of men in terms of them validating your sense of self-esteem. And if you did that, it's quite possible that a lot of them didn't respond with "you're wonderful" and actually hurt your sense of self-worth. The fourth chakra, the heart chakra, is of course responsible for love, and it's responsible for your loving feeling and your ability to love in general, not just for men. And they're saying this chakra is the most important chakra because it bridges the 3 below and the 3 above chakras. As it relates to men and romantic relationships, it has to do with, were you always able to express your romantic love when you felt it, and was that romantic love reciprocated? The fifth chakra, the throat chakra, is responsible for communication, and I feel that here most of the women are completely blocked in today's society because there's an expectation on us, whether we're single or married, to behave in certain ways or to accept certain things that are not innate to us. So for example, a single woman will be told you have to manage without men, stop chasing men, or men are no good. A married woman would say you need to work on things, you can't get divorced, you can't communicate your needs because this is how men are. So a lot of women are completely paralyzed in actually speaking their inner truth. They just go along the way relationships should be, the way society tells them, versus speaking up their truth. The sixth chakra, which is the third eye chakra, has to do with insight and intuition. And as it relates to men, it generally has to do with a man that we admire or a man that we can admire. You don't really know this man maybe that well, but there's something in your intuition that tells you he's good. There's something within your whole energetic system that's not just a sexual feeling, it's not just a passing romantic feeling. There is an admiration that you have for him. There's something that you look up to. This is very rare to find a connection with a man like that in today's world, especially if all the other chakras below are damaged. Finally, our seventh chakra, our crown chakra, is responsible for our connection with the divine. And there's generally no room for a man there, although some women put the men that they created there, i.e. their son or their sons, but that's a discussion for another time. In general, the seventh chakra is an expression of the divine feminine flowing into the universe and receiving whatever intuition, whatever resources, whatever creative energy she needs to express. But again, this is only if all the other chakras are in balance. Now let's recap the connection with the divine masculine. Number one, the provider. Number two, the man you're sexually attracted to and you feel sexually safe with. Number three, the man who makes you feel confident and shows you that you have a high value in every single interaction. Number four, the man you love, who ideally loves you back. Number five, the man you can clearly communicate your needs to. Number six, the man you admire. And ideally, of course, you would find this in one man. Now you may say it's not possible to find all this in one man, but I recently read an article on Celine Dion, the singer, talking about her now deceased husband, Rene, I can't remember his last name, who used to be her manager. He met her as a teenager. And she was sort of talking about the inception of the relationship with him, which she only admits to starting at 19, but I'm sure it was earlier than that. He was in his 40s. And I'm going to leave the social issue of an old man preying on a young girl alone. I'm just going to talk from her chakra and energy perspective. Number one, the root chakra, he was the provider. Number two, her sexual chakra, he was the only man she was with. And I'm sure the way she describes in this article, she's saying, when he first touched me and I was 19, sparks flew through my body and I knew this was the most intense connection I've ever felt. Number three, her confidence. Of course, this was his job, increasing her confidence and telling her all the time she was wonderful. Number four, the heart chakra. I'm sure she was deeply in love with him and it proved that he was deeply in love with her as well. Number five, her communication. I'm sure because he knew him for such a long time, she was fully transparent with him. Number six, he was a man that she admired at the time. Again, I'm going to reserve judgment on Renee. I'm strictly talking about how, from the perspective of her energy system, all of these energies were balanced in terms of the masculine in her life. Now for the rest of us, here's the takeaway. From here on forward, I don't want anyone to get involved with a man unless he meets and fulfills at least 3 of the chakras. Ideally more, ideally 4, 5, or again, all of them, but minimum 3. And meanwhile, between now and then, I want you to take a piece of paper and a pen, write out the chakras, and think of every single man, put the names of some men next to each of the chakras, and contemplate as to both the damage or the contribution they may have made to your chakra system. Now, for the women who are already married or in a relationship, it would be interesting to assess your husband through the prism of this energy system and see, did you pick a husband that fulfills your most deficient chakras, the chakras that were deficient before you met him, or did you pick a husband that fulfills the chakras where you're already okay in, therefore leaving the unbalanced and damaged chakras ignored and then wondering how come you can't achieve a connection with the divine. It's all connected. This energy system from below the crown chakra must be balanced. You must take steps to balance it yourself. You must do the energetic work yourself in order to project forward and achieve a higher connection that will allow you to manifest further more of what your spirit wants to create in this world. Good luck.